Welcome to the Maple Side Chats, your glimpse into the CEIBS MBA. This podcast presents you with the inside scope on what happens behind the scenes of China's top business school, located in Shanghai on Hongfeng Road or Red Maple Road. The China-Europe International Business School aims to develop tomorrow's business leaders with the China depth, global breadth mindset. Sounds intriguing? Let's get started. Welcome to Maple Side Chats, the show that explores the diverse and fascinating journeys of MBA students. I'm your host, Rain, today, and we are diving into a topic that's close to my heart, non-traditional backgrounds in business school. So as you know, in the world of business education, there's probably a common misconception that everyone comes from a finance, economics, accounting, or consulting background. But the reality is far more colorful and exciting. So today, we're going to hear from two incredible classmates, Saif and Jeanne, who've taken the road less travel to get here. So let's meet our guests. Saif, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Piyagoon Kongjinda, and my nickname is Saif. I was born and raised in Thailand and graduated from Chulalongkorn University, also in Thailand. My major is aerospace engineering. And before I come to the MBA program, I primarily worked in the sales function in two multinational companies before finally joining my family business.
Yeah, thank you, Saif. Jeanne, could you tell me a little bit about your background?
I'm very happy to be here with you today, Rain. So my name is Jeanne. I'm French, also born and raised in France, but also in Germany a bit. When I was 18, I decided to study law. So I joined the joint program between France and Germany. So I studied in Cologne and then in Paris. And then on my fifth year, I decided to go to a third country, which was China. And I really liked this experience, spending 1 year in Shanghai. After that, I worked as a company lawyer in two companies, one big IT French company and then one startup company. And now here I am back in Shanghai in the MBA.
Yeah, amazing. It's great to have you both here. And it's very interesting that both of your experience that were like a multicultural and multinational experience as well. So I'm just wondering, what was the motivation for you to pursue an MBA course?
So as I mentioned earlier, my education has been in engineering and most of my experience were in the sales functions. While those experience has been very useful, it's only one side of the complex world of business management. And once I went back to my family business, I realized that I needed to learn about other functions. I only have one side. I needed a lot more to become a competent manager and a competent business owner. So that is why I wanted a more holistic approach. And that is why I decided to pursue an MBA.
Yeah, I think MBA course will definitely help for future managerial experience and how to entrepreneur and also lead a company. So Jeanne, what about you? So what drew you from law to business?
When I worked in my second startup company, I started to become very interested in the business side of the company, understanding how the company was growing so fast and how each department was building itself. And then I realized I was more interested in understanding this growing process more than purely law-related work. And then I started to get informed about how to know more about business. So that's when I started to look at the MBA program.
Yeah. Have you selected or looked into other school?
So my plan was also to come back to China. So I really looked into Chinese business school primarily. And then CEIBS was offering the English program. So that was a big, big plus for me. And also it was really warmly recommended by friends. And this recommendation was also differentiated the program from other schools. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So we have been mentioned that our class is a lot of diversity, and I think you guys really brought the diversity, not because your own background, but also your work experience and academic experience as well. So was there or were there a moment that you realized your background was special in the business school? that's like not by other people just saying, but how you realized it?
So one thing that I've noticed is the multicultural aspect of my background. My first professional experience has been with an MNC, a multinational company with a very traditional Japanese culture. And while my second company is an MNC with a very Western culture, so I had a bit of a culture shock moving from the first one to the second one. And then lastly, I went back to my family-run business back in Thailand. So it's a very Thai culture. So I was exposed to a very wide variety of cultures. I have a lot of experience with a lot of different management styles, or even like corporate strategies. And I think that gave me a bit of an advantage. And it allowed me to relate to a more wider topic that was discussed in class and helped me grasp a lot of concepts that I think my peers might not have the same experience or advantage.
Yeah, I think three different cultural was kind of unique in our class as well. So you mentioned that there was a cultural shock where you were into the Western company. What was the biggest shock that you noticed?
I think the first thing that comes to mind would be the flexibility, because my first company is a very traditional Japanese. They are very strict, very particular in your time, in your way of doing things. But my second company is a very flexible, very hands-off kind of management. So took a bit of time to get used to, but I think both have its own benefits. And I think I can learn a lot. I did learn a lot from both of the management styles.
Yeah, but it sounds like you went from one extreme to another extreme.
Yes, very extreme.
Yeah. All right, Jeanne, do you want to share a little bit about your experience and also how you realized it was so diverse?
Yeah, sure. So first moment I really realized my background was a bit unique in the MBA was when I was reading all the bios from all the students before starting the MBA, a few days before. I realized that most of the classmates had a business background and very few was law related, and I think only 2 or 3.
I think 3. Yeah, 3.
So yeah, I felt it's gonna be a unique or rare background in the class. And then later in the MBA, I realized that my background had a very different way of perceiving risk compared to other classmates who had a business background. Because when I studied law, risk is a big topic, but in terms of being afraid of the risk, so trying everything to mitigate the risk, avoiding the risk. And in the business world, there's more finding the risk, which is an opportunity, and then go for it, take the risk, because high risk, high reward. So it's a very different mindset of how to perceive the risk and the opportunity.
Yeah, I think especially that some of our classmates really love the risk and then they just see it as a very exciting thing. So I think it's interesting that it did not come to me that risk will be differently perceived, but it makes sense that with your law background. Then was there like challenges when you're facing the risk and also solving like a business problems, or like how did you overcome them?
So when working as a team to do homework, so we were usually a team of 5 students having to do an assignment or think about a problem together during the MBA. I realized that the risk perception can be different, where I was used to get a question and then look for information for some time, really deep dive into everything I could find to really define the problem and then understand all the circumstances. So really get lots of information before recommending an action. In the class, I realized some people don't need much information. They already have the intuition what to do, and then they take the risk without necessarily knowing everything. Well, it's impossible to know everything, but have much more information. And then, so I realized that my way of doing things is different. But then I decided to learn, see how they do and learn from it. See if I can like this way of doing. So the first times I tried to refrain myself to intervene too much and then see how it goes. And in the end, I was positively surprised. The solution can be very different in terms of more creative. And then sometimes higher rewards.
Yeah.
And then sometimes lower rewards.
Yeah,
but that's the risk.
yeah,
So.
there's definitely times that it will go the good way, but also the bad way. But
Yeah.
I think it was good that how we learn from others and then see. And sometimes like I tend to look for information as well, but with the limited time and resources and pushing us. So yeah, so we had to go with intuition. And then we were just like, let's see how it goes. Yeah. All right. So Safe, have you faced any challenges?
For me, I think the biggest challenges were learning new subjects that I was very super unfamiliar with. For example, I have no idea about finance and accounting, and learning those subjects has been a big challenge for me. And how I overcome it is that I realized that one of the best resources that an MBA has to offer us is peer learning. I have a very strong teammate with a finance and accounting background. So I was able to learn a lot from my teammates. And also in our batch, we have a lot of tutorials in which it was student arranged, self-arranged.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was like saving us before the exam.
Yes.
It was safe.
Yes, so like a lot of classmates with those specific backgrounds, they self-arranged a tutorial, and then all of the other batchmates can attend those tutorials before the exam. So I did attend those tutorials and the small group within our own group as well. So I had a lot of practice, and I think the peer learning has been one of my favorite aspects of the MBA.
Yeah, I think you're not alone. Even with a business background, finance and accounting is not my thing. And
Yes.
I have keep finding it probably just not my thing. And the tutorials saved me for before the big exams. And I think it was a very a nice way that we gathered together and everyone
It
was
is.
trying to see
Yeah.
like do you know this question? And
It
you
is.
know,
They
yeah.
didn't have to go out of their way to arrange all those things. It was completely self-arranged, and
Yeah.
I think it was very kind of them to do so.
Yeah. And also if even with the subject that we don't have that much resources from our batch, then we even invited people from outside. And yes, thank you to anyone who probably is listening that from our batch. Yes, thank you guys for arranging that. All right, so enough said about challenges. Were there specific skills or unique skills that you gained from your previous experience that has been unexpectedly valuable in your MBA program that probably we as business background that don't have?
Yes, I think some skills I had from my previous experience I had developed was very useful, especially the reading skills.
Yeah, I probably want that.
We had lots of cases to read, sometimes for one day to another, many pages. And from my previous working experience, where I had to read lots of law texts or court cases in a very rapidly and kind of scanning the text to find the information, identify what's the key issue in the text, and then quick analyzing what's being said. I think that was very, very useful.
Yeah. So compared to your like law cases, is business cases just a little piece?
It's told kind of a story. So sometimes it can be very nice to read, especially if you kind of relate with the story. But sometimes it's also a topic that I like finance. Well, we didn't have many cases in finance, but
when you read numbers, yes,
yeah,
it was reports.
then it was a bit dry. So, but then depending on how specific the vocabulary was, yeah, it's a bit different the way it's written.
Yeah. Any other that you found it useful?
Then I think after reading the case, writing an assignment with my group, I think more detail-oriented than the average. So then in the group, my role was to double-check everything. And then ask maybe the last questions to clarify one opinion or... So yeah, detail-oriented and reading skills, I would say.
I think those two skills are extremely important, and I really want to copy that reading skills from you because I've been staying nights and to read some of the cases. But yeah, so Sarah, do you have any to share?
I think one of the most unexpected advantage that I think I have is the way I was trained to think in engineering school. So basically in engineering school, I was trained to approach every problem very systematically, even like mechanically. It's like second nature to me to break things down and categorize them into parts. And as you know, we have a lot of frameworks, a lot of concepts in the MBA.
Yes.
So basically categorizing things and putting things into parts, into frameworks, into different concepts is basically second nature to me. And even though I'm not familiar with those specific frameworks, I think these type of thinking is very familiar to me. And I think it allows me to grasp those frameworks more easily.
Yeah, I think business is the thing that probably sounds very theoretical or very
Yes.
complex, but when you put down to real cases, there's a lot of skills we will need or we can gather from past experience that you to play around with it.
Yes.
Okay, so we've been talking about how our past experience or your past skills impacted your perspective or approach doing MBA. Then what are the most impressive or innovative things that you have learned in the course that probably shaped your perspective on real business?
So during term 3, we had a 1-week class called the Integrated Application. And the objective of the class is to put everyone into teams of around 5 to 6 people. And then we run a simulated company while competing with other teams. So I found that class very innovative because it basically simulated very well the real life situation of business scenarios.
Yeah.
And I think the best part of the program is that it forces us to basically run a small company. And it forces us to consider every functions of the company. So basically, it forces us to put everything we learned in term 1 and 2 into practice in one single simulation. And I think it really puts into perspective on how challenging and complex, but also fun running a business can be.
Just asking, did you win?
No. But it was a good experience nonetheless.
No, yeah, totally agree because it was really fun. And I think the feedback, it was kind of rushing to push us to make quick decisions.
Yes.
Yeah, right? So, and then we were not locked, but we were in a room and then we just keep on discussing and then we to make decision within the time frame. I think I love that experience as well.
It was really interesting.
Yeah, it was
really innovative.
Yes. I think that was the best simulation that I experienced the whole program. So yeah. And all right, so Jeanne, do you have any?
Yes, one was really, really interesting. I think I will remember for a long time.
Yeah.
Was one specific class.
Yep.
Well, 2 classes, but it was marketing class by one specific professor.
Yeah.
That I really enjoy visiting the class was Professor Park. So she's teaching us marketing, the core course.
Yeah, marketing management, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, marketing management. And then one elective was consumer behavior.
Yeah.
That was really, really, really nice class. I was really impressed how she was teaching us. First, I didn't have the marketing background, so it was completely new subject for me. And discovering all the frameworks, understanding that you need to define the target customers and then how to address them. And then the strategy, the first step, the second step of the marketing strategy, that was really, really interesting. And then the way she was teaching us was also very special because she was not just delivering her knowledge from her brain and then giving a class that we should just listen to. She was really trying to take the knowledge from our brain. So she was really encouraging participation.
Yeah.
And then from our participation, drawing all the thinking and leading us to the conclusion. And this way of doing, I think it's very valuable to experience so that maybe later in my future work life, I can remember that and then find some inspiration to communicate with people.
Yeah, she combined the real case with theory. I think that was the amazing part of like a business school of after like when you study, then there is the integration of real cases, but not only just the theory. And yes, just make sure next time you tell her this, I think she will be very happy. All right, so what is the inspiring interaction, if you guys had any, with your mentor, your classmates, or alumni?
On my side, I think so many very, very interesting interaction with classmates, understanding their background. I can remember of one interaction, not with classmates. So we had a senior executive coaching program organized during the year. And it was one meeting with a senior executive coming to CEIBS. It was like about 1 hour. So I met one senior executive. He's French, living in China for 20 plus years. And that was very interesting to talk with him because he has a very good understanding of of China and being French in China. So I could really relate to him being French and then learn from his background so he was working in top management position in different companies, American, Japanese, and Chinese company.
Oh, wow.
So that was very interesting. And now he's doing lots of counseling to companies. So he has very good overview of the trends. So from this discussion, I could understand a bit more of where my profile would fit best in the current market, in the trends.
Yeah. So do you reckon that he gave you ideas for future planning or future career?
Yeah, definitely. He really emphasized on the need for Chinese companies to internationalize. Now, the need and the demand for internationalization, go overseas, go to new markets. And for that, Chinese companies need people that can understand the new markets outside of China. So he was really encouraging me to look into this field, into this topic.
Yeah, I think that's great. And that's how diversity of the school that, from the past classes that actually they had connection, that we can find people maybe like quite specific that actually fits your, very similar to your experience that could provide you with more specific needs or help you with the future career. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. So remembered you mentioned about your motivation to pursue MBA. And at the beginning of our MBA, that we did write down our goal or vision for the program. And I hope you guys remember what you wrote. So till now, are existing experiences and feelings consistent with your original vision?
So for me, I think it's both consistent, but also different from what I expected. My original vision would to learn how to manage a business and gain a more holistic view of every other functions that I don't have any experiences in. And we covered that extensively during the program, so that the MBA definitely delivered in that aspect. But it is also different because beyond the classroom, I gained a lot of good friends, good connections, and I had a lot of good experiences, new experiences that I have never anticipated before coming to an MBA. So I think the 10 months that passed by very quickly has been a very wild and fulfilling ride with a lot of unforgettable experiences.
Can you tell us or share with us some of the unforgettable experiences that I keep mentioning?
I think outside of the classroom, we had a lot of traveling. And personally, I love traveling. And I've never been to China before coming to an MBA. So once I came to China, I have a lot of local friends who brought me around to different cities, different parts of China, in which I never would have had this experience if I don't have those friends, local friends. And because they are local to those cities, we had a lot of very local experiences, a lot of secret places and recommendations, and a lot of good activities and good memories.
Yeah, I think because we have classmates from not only internationally, but local from different cities as well. Yes. So I think we can actually form a travel guide with all the hidden places everybody knows that at each of the city. That will be useful.
Lovely.
Yes. All right. So Jeanne, do you have any?
Yeah, so very similar to SAFE. I think it was both consistent and different. I was, before the MBA, I think I was very open to new things. I really wanted to not have too specific expectation about what's going to happen, what I'm going to learn. I wanted to challenge my beliefs, my thinking. So I tried to not anticipate too much. And then, so this was consistent in the way that I've been surprised positively by many things. I've learned many new things that I didn't expect to learn. So that was very nice. Oh yeah, one thing I was really looking forward was the leadership course, because it's a kind of difficult class to teach. So it should not be too theoretical, it should be practical.
Yeah.
And for that, I found it really, really good classes. So we had different kind of seminar workshops, and that was, I learned a lot. I enjoyed the different exercises. We had to do the test, personality test also.
Yes, we have done so many of personality tests, I think. Yes. Yeah.
We were all an animal at some point.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
And then on the network part, also very, very happy with everyone I met during the program. And I think it will last for long. Consistent with my original vision and also even more better than what I did not expect.
Yeah. I think it's I'm very happy to hear that it's better than what you originally planned or expected, and very happy that that's not only within the academic side but also outside of school that you guys enjoyed, because you guys had limited experience in China and Safe actually never came to China before, so it was good that you guys had very good local experience. So the last question, the final questions, I want to look to the future. So far that have you drafted a career plan to practice your new skills and achieve your original vision?
So my answer would be very short.
Yeah.
Because my next step would be to go directly back to my family-run business. So what I learned here in an MBA, I will definitely get to put those to use.
Yeah.
I will be very practical in my next step in life, and I feel much more well-equipped than previously before I came to an MBA, and I'm very excited to put all the new skills and new knowledge that I've gained during my time here to finally put to use in Thailand.
Perfect. So that includes your finance and accounting skills?
Hopefully.
I'm sure it will, but yeah. So Jeanne, you mentioned that actually the executive mentor provides you a lot of suggestions or ideas about your future opportunities in China. So have you drafted maybe your career options in future?
Yeah, so I think I will keep this idea of helping Chinese companies going global. And I think the MBA gave me more confidence in and maybe more ambition also to look for jobs later. I do have an idea, but also remain a bit flexible because I think opportunities will come at the time I will seriously look for jobs. Yeah.
Are you going to help the companies like from a law perspective or any other department that you can think of?
Yes, I think now my ideas is to work on this topic of going global using my previous skills, which is understanding the law, also coming from Europe, my understanding of France, Germany.
The market.
Europe markets. Yeah. And then from the MBA, the skills gained from understanding the business more from a global perspective. So maybe go into the more strategy vision in the business, design the strategy to go global. Yeah. Taking into account, law definitely, finance a bit. So mix everything.
Yes. Yeah. It's a large integrated application case,
exactly.
Right? Yeah. All right. So thank you both for sharing your fascinating journeys with us today. And I hope you guys enjoy the next few months till next year, the journey of the MBA. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into MBA life at CEIBS. If you have any questions or comments about this episode or the podcast in general, please feel free to reach out. Our email is in the podcast description. Stay tuned for our next episode.